basketball and barbecue, every fan's delight. From the court to the grill, stories we will share. Tasty bites and highlights together everywhere. Sports Bytes, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. From fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will frame. Sports Bytes, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Football and fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will frame. Sports Bytes, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Joseph, and this is the first edition of SEC Bytes. Now, for those that have followed the channel, follow the content, know I do the show Sports Bytes Podcast. I talk about sports, talk about food. It's a lot of fun. I mean, food always surrounds sports, right? Tailgate, parties, everything. So that's what we kind of do here. Now, I do a live show on Monday, which is a reaction Monday to the football season. On Fridays, I do a preview show. So that way everybody knows kind of what's coming up. What I've decided to do is throughout the week, I'm recording these 30-minute, right around 30-minute quick hitters, recap the games from the conference that I'm talking about from the week before, talk a little bit about news, and preview the week ahead. And at the end, I will give my weekly power rankings for that conference. Now, again, in this, some people may see it and don't understand. I'm going by what I see. That's my power ranking, So for me, like I did the Big Ten one, right? I had USC as the number one team in the Big Ten because they have the best win so far for the Big Ten. Now, is Ohio State dominant? Yes. Iowa dominated? Yes. But the best win so far in the Big Ten was USC. So that's why I have them number one. So my power ranking is going to be a little bit different, but feel free, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to the variety of places that we are live or recorded, I should say, on Spotify, on Apple, Samsung Podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, you will find this. So if you just listen audio-wise, you can go to the Facebook page. You can go to my Twitter page. You see if you're watching right here, all the links, they're right down there. You can see Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. So be sure you follow all them, and we're going to keep you up to date with what's going on. But again, this is the first edition of SEC Bytes. Now, I feel a little bit, how should I say this? I used to kind of make fun of the SEC and how the people were. This is before I moved to Birmingham. I've been in Birmingham since 2016 and really have kind of adapted into the culture of the SEC. And lo and behold, I'm a huge Oklahoma fan. I covered the Sooners for a good part of a decade. And all of a sudden, now it comes out Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC. So I'm excited. I get to see my guys closer, going to the Auburn game on the 28th. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the competition. I'm not afraid of competition. Even if we lose, I'm not afraid of competition. I'd rather see Oklahoma play teams in the SEC than Iowa State and Kansas. And yes, Those teams have beat Oklahoma recently, and it's not taking a shot at them. It's just, come on. Oklahoma, Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Way better than Oklahoma, Kansas. I'm sorry. Have it in. But let's go ahead and dive into the week one that was the SEC. On Thursday, a couple of teams got it kicked off. One ranked team, Missouri. The Tigers took on Murray State, and the Racers did absolutely no racing. Cook was on point, 228 yards, one touchdown. Luther Burden III, one of the best receivers in the country, if not the best, 4 receptions, 49 yards. They shut out Murray State 51-0. Now, again, I'm going to be really interested to see what Missouri does throughout the year. Look ahead. They got Buffalo this week. Then next week, Boston College. A team that really, kind of got everybody's attention the other night with what they did to Florida State. We'll see if Boston College is real. We'll see if Missouri's real. I'm not a big fan of Missouri. You've heard me talk about throughout, Eli Drinkwitz just kind of rubs me the wrong way. They were going around really pumping their chest about beating Ohio State last year when they had nobody playing for them in the bowl game. And it was an extremely low-scoring game. We'll see. We'll see. But a lot of the Missouri fans saying, Oklahoma fans, you need to be worried. Oklahoma was never worried about Missouri when you were in the Big 12. Why are we worried about you now? We're not. I promise. Whoa, Pig Suey. Another Oklahoma connection, Sam Pittman, former El Reno coach out there, big offensive line coach. Arkansas brings in a new quarterback, Taylor Green. 229 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's running around the field looking good. Bobby Petrino, they put up 70 against Arkansas Pine Bluff. 70. Whew. Taylor Green was running around looking really good, right? They were calling the hogs. Everyone was having a good time. 70-0. Friday night, it was great because Thursday night I was at the UAB game when the season started on the 29th. That Friday night on the 30th, I got to sit at home and watch the Sooners. Now, Oklahoma comes out, 17-17 in the first 2 quarters. And there's a way you can kind of break it down and look. Jackson Arnold, 141 yards, 4 touchdowns, a lot of short fields because the defense forced 6 turnovers. And to me, there is a difference between a turnover or a giveaway and a takeaway. Oklahoma took the ball away 6 times. Go back to Ethan Downs' first fumble force coming in after a good run by the quarterback. Ethan Downs punches the ball out. So a lot of short fields. But I will say this. The offensive line did not impress me. There were some injuries. There were some people out. I understand that. But still, when you're physically watching and you see Temple's defensive line stand up and push back the Oklahoma defensive line, that doesn't give me the warm fuzzies. The ground game with Gavin Sawchuk never really got going. The number 1 running back in the country last year, Taylor Tatum, came in, 5 carries, 69 yards and a touchdown. He looks every bit the part. Bauer Sharp came in at tight end, 5 receptions, 47 yards and a touchdown, coming in from southeastern Louisiana. And I'll say this. The one thing I was happy to see, being an Oklahoma fan, the fact that we kicked a 50-yard field goal. I mean, it was a struggle last year. So thank God we got the transfer Tyler Keltner in, SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. First time in, comes from Florida State. Now he's the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. But, I thought Jackson Arnold made some good throws. I do think his clock was a little sped up, instead of letting some more things develop. But again, it was his first start at home. Everyone always talks about how you see the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. I can't wait to see what Oklahoma does this Saturday against the Houston Cougars. Saturday was the rest of the SEC, right? The SEC was all except the final game that was on Sunday. We'll talk about that. It started early. Clemson and Georgia. A lot of excitement about this game. Teams that have won national championships recently, teams that have been in the playoffs recently. The whole Dabo Sweeney story. Is he losing control? Is he losing the grasp of what the game is because not buying in to NIL and the transfer portal? The biggest glaring thing for me at Clemson, since Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, who were generational quarterbacks, you have gone extremely downhill with DJ Uyunglele and Cade Klubnik. They're not the guys. Now, 6-0 at half. I thought it was really good for Mike Bobo and that offense. They came back, really exploited the boundaries and used the speed. Carson Beck ended up with 278 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 34-3 victory for the Georgia Bulldogs, and it didn't even feel that close. All right, it didn't feel that close. Georgia dismantled Clemson. They are the clear cut right now, I would say, top team. There's some other teams that'll have some say-so in that, but right now, from what I saw, just execution-wise, loved it. Texas played Colorado State, and man, the Longhorns, I have a friend of mine who's a big Longhorns fan. I asked him were they going to cover, I think it was 33, and he said, no way, 52-0. Quinn Ewers, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 bad decision on an interception. Arch Manning got some play time. Really don't know a lot. I'll tell you this. Texas is fast. They are very, very fast. And they have probably the biggest game in the country coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that after the commercial break with one of our sponsors. Alabama watched that game from start to finish against Western Kentucky. Kalen DeBoer's debut at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and they came out and dominated, 63-0. Jalen Milroe, extremely poised in the pocket. There was only 2 things that were bad. There was a bad snap that led to a fumble, but then they actually didn't give up any points. And there was one time Proctor, I think he got hurt on the play, and he got beat on the outside for a sack fumble, but they were able to recover. So just some concern there. But Justice Haynes ran the football kind of like I thought he would last year, but this year, 4 carries, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. And the Saraland native Ryan Williams, 17 years old, SEC Freshman of the Week, and, 2 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. The next great Alabama wide receiver, Ryan Williams. He's special. He's special. Keon Sabb from Michigan, the transfer to Alabama, had 2 interceptions, and they just did a good job. Deontay Lawson, this defense is going to be fine. Alabama is going to be there. Now, in 4 weeks when Alabama and Georgia play, that's a big game. But at the end of the year, I still believe you're going to see Georgia and Alabama in that 12-team playoff. And Alabama's one of those teams, if they got a chance, until there's no time on the clock and you're ahead, they always have a chance. Alabama cruises past Western Kentucky 63-0. Jackson Dart and the Ole Miss Rebels had a fun time with Furman. Jackson Dart, 418 yards, 5 touchdowns, setting an SEC record for yards and a half. I think that broke Joe Burrow's Peach Bowl performance against Oklahoma. But that offense, it's a big year for Lane Kiffin. It's a big year for Lane Kiffin with everything they did in the NIL and the transfer portal. Harris at receiver, 8 catches, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's going to be a really good offense. We'll talk about who Ole Miss has coming up next. Another great offense, man. There's a lot of SEC teams that put up a lot of points. Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers. Nico Iamaleava, he's looking more and more the real deal. Now, again, you played against Iowa. Everyone wants to pump them up, say they're a great defense. They didn't play good against ranked teams. Still better than Chattanooga. Chattanooga stood no chance, 69-3. Nico Iamaleava, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they were going at breakneck speed. There was times they were snapping the ball, and the chain crew wasn't even set. So get ready. It's going to be fast and furious. Vanderbilt. How about Vandy? Whoo! Clark Lee and the Commodores, man. Diego Paiva, 26 carries, 104 yards. Vanderbilt made plays when they needed to make plays. Now, they were up 17-0 at one point. I was like, what is going on here? But give them their flowers. Vanderbilt, you beat a team that a lot of people had as a dark horse or even as their front runner to be the ACC champion. Is it turning around for Clark Lee in the doors? We'll figure out. Jeff Lebby made his debut at Mississippi State. Blake Shapen, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. They beat Eastern Kentucky 56-7. It's going to be an interesting offense to watch if Blake Shapen can keep control of that offense. The offensive line can give him some time. I think execution-wise, Mississippi State may surprise some people. Auburn all over Alabama A&M, 73-3. Peyton Thorne, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jarquez Hunter, 4 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Again, Alabama A&M, not that good. We'll see with the next opponent for Auburn. Kentucky played through the rain. Brock Vandagriff really didn't get a chance to play that much. 31-0. They take down the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Vandagriff, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. South Carolina, I kept hearing all year how Lenore Sellers was going to be the man. He did not look like the man. Old Dominion should have won that football game. But South Carolina found a way to snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat, 23-19. The team that really kind of embarrassed the SEC was the Florida Gators. Miami came in and absolutely mollywopped them, 41-17. Cam Ward all over. I mean, just it was unreal. Florida has gone downhill. I don't know how Napier makes it through the year. $26 million buyout. We'll see if he makes it through. Sunday, we talked about it during the Big Ten episode. LSU USC, a great game. Garrett Nussmeier stepping in for Jaden Daniels, who's gone to the draft to my Commanders. It was a great game. I enjoyed the game. Nussmeier is going to be fine. I think Brian Kelly and the Bengal Tigers, the LSU boys, they're going to be just fine. Tough loss, but they'll get time to recoup. Oklahoma doesn't see them until the end of the year. That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm going to go down there or not, but an outstanding game. It was an outstanding college football game. I enjoyed watching it, right? Such a good time. We're going to take a time out by one of our sponsors, Olipop. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the games coming up for the Big Ten. Stay right here on SEC Bytes.
Anywhere you want to go, just pick me up on this road.
Share an Olipop, make a friend. Olipop, high fiber, less sugar.
Olipop, guys, let me tell you, being a diabetic, I miss sodas, but Olipop, higher fiber, less sugar. And I'm going to tell you, their classic grape is hands down the best carbonated grape drink I've ever had in my life. It beats Grape Eco, it beats Great Knee High, and it's good for you. So with the college football dogs on the Dog TV network, we actually have a code. If you're going to order some Olipop, use the code DOGGYPOP, DAWGGYPOP. Get yourself some Olipop, a variety of flavors. Everyone likes the orange squeeze. You can kind of make like a dreamsicle with it. But the grape for me is number one. The grape is number one. Now let's take a talk, and we'll talk a little bit about the games upcoming this week for the SEC. Now, obviously, the big one, Texas and Michigan. We'll get into that. We come down, Mississippi State and Arizona State. That should be an entertaining game. SEC After Dark, they're all the way out in Tempe at Mountain America Stadium. The spread is Arizona State by 6, a total of 59.5. I would take the over easily in that one, 59.5. I think both teams are going to score points. I would actually take Mississippi State for the victory. I would take Mississippi State plus the 6 points in this game if I was putting money down on it. Oklahoma takes on Houston. The Cougars lost to UNLV. Not a good look. Not a good look. Going to be kind of cooler in the 80s in Norman at Memorial Stadium there. The spread, Oklahoma by 29, a total of 49.5. I would take the total. Again, I think the over. I think Oklahoma scores. UNLV ran for almost 200 yards against Houston. I think Oklahoma gets back on track with the run game. A spread of 29, I got Oklahoma covering. I would take Houston, or I'd take Oklahoma minus the 29 in that. Vanderbilt takes on Alcorn State, and I saw Alcorn State play against UAB on Thursday night to start the season. Not a really good offensive showing for the Braves, and I think it's going to be kind of the same. Vanderbilt, no line on it because it's Division I versus the FCS, but I think Vanderbilt wins that game. LSU, they play Nichols, the Nickel State, what are they, Generals, I think? The Colonels, the Nickel State Colonels. I don't know why I said the Generals. But again, that game, no spread on that game. A chance for LSU to bounce back. They will be home at Tiger Stadium. The Corn Dogs will be bouncing around, having a really good time. Florida and Samford. Whew. Boy, if Samford goes in there and pulls that upset off, Napier may not make it back to the business offices there. But I think Florida wins that game. They should. Better athletes, but have they given up? Are they embarrassed? Do they fight? We'll see. Missouri and Eli Drinkwitz, the wrong O'Shea brother, they play the Buffalo Buffaloes, the Bulls. They play them in Missouri, Faurot Field. That spread is Missouri by 34.5, a total of 52.5. I would probably I'd probably go under in that one. I don't know if Buffalo's going to be able to score in the 34.5. I'd probably take Buffalo plus the points. That's what I would do. Alabama, South Florida, interesting game last year with 17-3. Jalen Milroe didn't play, and I think, and I've told people, I think that game was Nick Saban and his Bam Cunningham game for Alabama to show everybody that Jalen Milroe was the quarterback. Great offense. Justice Haynes, Ryan Williams, quick strike for Alabama. They can get you from anywhere on the field at any time. They turn you over, put a lot of pressure on you. I don't think Byron Brown, the quarterback for South Florida, has it to beat him. Alex Golish may be a offensive mastermind. I just don't think they have it. He doesn't have the talent that he had at Tennessee when he was the offensive coordinator when they beat Alabama a couple years ago. That one, Alabama favored by 31, the total of 63.5. I would probably take the over. I would take the over in that. Plus, I would take Alabama giving the 31 points. I think they just shellac South Florida. A lot different than last year. Ole Miss takes on Tennessee State. Jackson Dart's going to have no problems. Another total of 63.5. I'd take the over in that. I think they're going to win that over. Mississippi by 41. If they do what they did last week, I think Mississippi minus 41 is a safe bet. Kentucky, South Carolina. Well, somebody's got to win, right? Kentucky favored by 10, a total of 42.5. I would probably, 21. I think they get it together. I would go the over if I was betting. I'd stay away from the spread myself. I would go with the over, but if I had to pick the spread, I would take South Carolina getting the 10 points. These games always seem to be close. Auburn and Cal. Auburn favored by 13, a total of 53.5. Take the over in that one. I think they're going to score a ton of points. Auburn wins that game easily. Georgia, Tennessee Tech. No spread. No chance for Tennessee Tech. I'm sorry. Like, they can start the scout team and beat Tennessee Tech. Texas A&M will play McNeese State. A chance for them to bounce back. See what they could do against McNeese State. They always play Division I teams tough. A big one in Stillwater, Boone Pickens, Oklahoma State and Arkansas, the Pokes and the Hogs. Oklahoma State favored by a touchdown and a half, an over of 62.5. I would probably take the under in that, but I would take Arkansas plus the 7.5. I would take Arkansas plus the 7.5. Tennessee, North Carolina State. This is a big game. Grayson McCall, Nico Iamaleava, head-to-head. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Neutral site, Bank of America Stadium. Tennessee favored by 8, total of 60.5. I would take the over, and I would take Tennessee minus the 8. And I like North Carolina State, kind of my dark horse to win the ACC, but I think Tennessee offensively is a lot to deal with. And the big game at the Big House, dueling pregame shows. You got game day and the big noon kickoff. Ann Arbor Stadium, the Big House. Will Michigan have one quarterback? Will they run two quarterbacks? I don't know. But Quinn Ewers and the Longhorns, they came to Tuscaloosa last year and won a big game that spurred on their season. Now, they did lose to Oklahoma after that, but from what I've seen, what I saw, now you're the champion until you're not the champion. They're the defending champions. There's still something odd about Sharon Moore not signing his contract, but I like Texas in this game. The total of 42.5, I would go over the 42.5, but I would take Michigan plus the 7.5. That's kind of what I would do. But that's your look at the SEC Bytes preview of what's coming up. Now it's time to look at the power rankings for the SEC. Now, again, the way I do this is by what I've seen. I'll go back and watch film. I'll go back and kind of dissect the game. And it's not just like the instant reaction to Twitter. I go back and I watch a ton of film, and I'm looking at these games. Who controlled it? You know, the control index, you hear that stuff. I want to see who controlled the game. So my power rankings for the SEC. Number 16, the Florida Gators. I'm sorry. You look like trash. Billy Napier, you're in for a long year, buddy. Number 15, South Carolina. Beamer's got to get it turned around. Did not look good. Should have lost to Old Dominion. If they lost to Old Dominion, I probably would have put them at 16, even though Miami beat up Florida as bad as they did. Mississippi State at 14, still a lot of unknown. But here's the thing. They didn't play bad. And that's why I think the SEC is so dominant. Is we're talking about, A&M 0-1. Connor Wegman didn't impress me. But you look at some of these teams, all these teams that are 1-0, and they're down here at 8, 9, 10, 11. There's just so much good football in the SEC this year. Arkansas at number 12, 1-0. Kentucky, the Wildcats, at 11. LSU, they played really good. They had the loss, but even at 0-1, I got them at number 10 in the SEC. The Vanderbilt Commodores coming. Now, Vanderbilt actually got some votes in the AP poll. Now, I didn't vote for them. I am one of the FWAA Super 16 voters. So every week I get a vote, the top 16 teams, along with Hall of Fame coaches, players, and media members from across the country. You know, guys like R.J. Young from the number one college sports show. You know, worked with R.J. for a long time. I'm going to try to get him on the pod, talk a little bit about what's going on. Number 8, Auburn. Tigers look good. I can't wait to go to Jordan-Hare Stadium and watch Oklahoma play there just for everything. You got to go to Mama Goldberg's. You got to get the beef and cheese. You got to go to Toomer's Corner, get you a lemonade. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Got to hang out with my sister, take my son and my wife. It's going to be a great time. Now, my sister's an Auburn fan, but we'll still have a good time. Number 6, the Missouri Tigers. 5, Tennessee. 4, Ole Miss. 3, Texas. Now, Texas, again, here's the thing. If Texas goes up there and beats up on Michigan, even if Alabama is impressive, I might move Texas up to number 2 or even number 1. Because, again, it's the best wins. Now, right now, the win against Clemson is the better win in the way they looked in that whole second half. Alabama dominated from kick to finish. But if Texas goes in there and beats Michigan, whoo. And I hate saying it, being a Sooner fan. God, I hate saying it. But we'll see. But that's my power rankings for the SEC Week 1. Guys, I appreciate you again for all of you that are supporting this project of mine, getting back into sports media. And I just want to say thank you. For those that comment on the social media posts, that comment on YouTube, that send me messages saying they love what they're seeing, thank you. There's a lot more coming, guys. There's a lot more coming. All right? Stay tuned, especially for SEC coverage. Stay tuned for SEC coverage. But again, this is my SEC Byte show. I've already got the ACC and the Big Ten one up, so be on the lookout for the Big 12 and the Group of 5 Bytes the rest of this week. Friday night, I'll have my preview show where I'll break down the top 6 games heading into the weekend. Might give them a 6er, from Sports Bytes, but again, everybody, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys are allowing me the opportunity to live up my dream and to talk about sports, to cover sports. I loved it. I was at UAB's coaches meeting on Monday. Trent Dilfer had coffee with the coach. He answered a phone call from his grandson, and now the story is kind of going viral because, it's so different than what you see from a lot of college coaches. Not saying that a lot of coaches wouldn't do it. It was just really cool to see. But, man, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great night. And remember to always positively move forward.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Bytes. With your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the game day stories and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay home. hungry for more Sports Bites.